The Mercedes W11, whilst not the most dominant F1 car ever, but it is the undisputed fastest.
The track, look at that, he's so confident to just flick the steering wheel. The car will live with it. I mean, that's got to be easily the grippiest racing car in history.
My God. In 2020, Mercedes unveiled the Mercedes-AMG F1 W11 EQ Performance, or the W11. And this car is OP. It is a combination of what Mercedes have learned in their 6-year domination period. Total Wolff even said this is their best car, even though it's not their most successful. That goes to the W07 from the 2016 Formula 1 season. But the W11 was just a proper well-oiled machine. It was born during peak F1 performance. In the first part of the 2020 season, the W11 is sometimes 1 second a lap faster than the nearest competitors. The W11 is undoubtedly one of the greatest racing cars ever made. This is the car that gave Lewis Hamilton his 7th and latest F1 championship, and Mercedes' 7th constructors in a row. Imagine if you didn't have COVID and the W11 actually raced on tracks like Suzuka, Melbourne, Qatar and Jeddah. I mean, I can go on for days, to be honest. In testing, Mercedes were the clear favorites, obviously, but they enjoyed a few issues with the power unit and then planned aero updates for the upcoming Dutch Grand Prix. But then we had a little something called COVID-19 and nothing went according to plan in 2020. The FIA enforced a factory lockdown and Mercedes decided to do it as late as possible, which gave them time to tackle their problems and produce aero issues for the new season opener in Austria. The pandemic threw a spanner in the works for most of the team, but Mercedes used that time to perfect the W11. The team produced and maintained a dominant car whilst the world was in turmoil. But if the season went according to plan, Mercedes would have had a far bigger issue. The engine. Both Valtteri Bottas and Lewis faced issues in pre-season testing, and one of the Mercedes personnel suggested that the team would have been in trouble if the season had went ahead in the Australian Grand Prix. That engine was in a lot of trouble at race 1, and there was a problem they just struggled to find out. They needed a day longer and they obviously didn't have, but the race season didn't start and they immediately managed to zero in on the problem. But why did Mercedes struggle with the engine? Obviously, Mercedes were known to have the strongest engine in that era. See, in 2019, Ferrari were fast, suspiciously fast, almost too fast for their own good. Yes, Mercedes overall had the best car on the 2019 grid, but you can feel that Ferrari were not far off, and they obviously had the best engine on the grid, legally or not. So Mercedes decided to go all in for the 2020 season, and of course there was no budget cap. The same way you don't need any budget to subscribe because it's so. If you're enjoying the video, walk on to that subscribe button and smash it.
Huge effort gone in by HPP to put more performance into the PU. They've managed to have a really good winter, finding lots and lots of fresh horses from this power unit. Many years into a regulation with fixed fuel flow, this year they've managed to find a really impressive upgrade in the power.
And something impressive they did. They took every part of the W10, which is already the best car on the 2019 grid, and just made it better. Ferrari kind of made Mercedes went back to the drawing board and just built an absolute rocket ship. The boys back in the engine department managed to find fresh and slick horses over the winter, and they made some slick innovations also at the rear, moving the suspension backwards and plenty of other stuff. Mercedes' potential flaw turned into their strength, and if the season had started at Melbourne, Mercedes would have been in serious trouble, and we probably wouldn't be here calling the Mercedes W11 as good as it is. The W11 ultimately didn't have much flaws. The W11 is one of my favorite F1 cars of all time because it's fast and fast equals good. I'm planning to buy one of those models, so yeah, maybe if I buy it, I'll do a little unboxing for you guys. At the end of the day, Mercedes built a car that was streaks ahead of the 2019 car. And whether you are a Mercedes fan or not, you have to respect what Mercedes did with the W11. The car was just unbeatable, to be honest. I know Max won a couple of races that season, but the W11, you can feel that it was pretty much an unbeatable machine. Same as what Red Bull are currently doing with the RB19, but that's for a future video. The Mercedes W11 will probably be the fastest F1 car ever made, or at least the fastest for a very long time, and by far the most complete Mercedes F1 car ever. It's a shame we didn't see this car race on other great circuits. Do you think we'll see another car that is as fast as the W11? Give me your thoughts in the comments.